Elvis Presley sold more records than almost any performer who ever lived, a reported 1 billion of them worldwide. For most of his career, he was the highest-paid entertainer on the planet. And then, in 1973, he sold every master recording he had ever made, the entire catalog, all of it, for a reported $5.4 million. After his manager took his cut and the taxes came out, Elvis reportedly walked away with something closer to $1.3 million. 4 years later, he was gone. Elvis died on a bathroom floor at 42, isolated, addicted, and the estate he left behind was reportedly close to collapse. This is the story of Elvis Presley's money, and of the one thing he never sold, which turned out to save everything. Here's what makes this story different from every other money story you've heard. Elvis didn't lose his fortune the way stars usually lose fortunes. There was no bankruptcy court. There was no fraud conviction, no stolen money, no dramatic reckoning. Elvis signed his fortune away, legally, voluntarily, on paper, in deals he agreed to and understood he was agreeing to. And the man who built those deals was the man he trusted more than anyone alive. By the end of this, you'll see exactly how the biggest star on earth ended up holding a fraction of what he earned. And you'll see why the single asset that eventually rescued his family was the one nobody ever thought to ask him for. Start with the scale, because it's difficult to overstate. From the moment he broke through in the mid-1950s, Elvis Presley wasn't just popular. He was a category of his own. He reportedly sold records in the hundreds of millions during his lifetime and beyond $1 billion in total. He made 31 feature films, and for a stretch in the 1960s, he was among the highest-paid actors in Hollywood, reportedly commanding $1 million a picture, plus a share of the profits at a time when $1 million was an almost unimaginable fee. Then came Las Vegas. Beginning in 1969, he performed a legendary run of residency shows, reportedly more than 600 consecutive sold-out performances, filling a showroom twice a night for years. Records, films, television specials, live shows, 4 enormous income streams running at once. For 2 decades. By any measure, Elvis Presley generated one of the largest entertainment fortunes of the 20th century, which makes the next part so hard to believe. Because generating a fortune and keeping one are 2 completely different things, and almost nobody explains the difference until it's too late. Here's where everything turns. From the very beginning, Elvis's career was managed by a man who called himself Colonel Tom Parker. And Parker's arrangement with Elvis was, by the standards of the business, extraordinary. Where a typical manager of that era might take 10 or 15%, Parker's cut reportedly began at 25%. Eventually, it rose to a full 50% of Elvis's earnings, half, on a partnership that lasted more than 20 years. But the commission wasn't the costliest part. In March of 1973, Parker structured a deal in which Elvis sold his master recordings, the ownership of everything he had recorded up to that point, back to his record label for a reported $5.4 million. Understand what a master recording actually is. It is the thing itself. Whoever owns the masters gets paid every time that recording is streamed, sold, licensed to a film, played in a commercial, or reissued in any form, forever. It is the single most valuable asset a recording artist can own. Elvis sold his. And after Parker's share and the tax bill, Elvis himself reportedly netted something in the range of $1.3 million for the permanent rights to the most valuable song catalog in popular music. Those recordings have generated an incalculable amount of money in the half-century since. Not a single dollar of it flowed to him. And that was only the largest of the leaks. There were others running the entire time. Consider one that almost nobody thinks about. Elvis Presley, the most famous entertainer in the world, essentially never toured outside North America. Not Europe, not Asia, not Australia. Markets that were desperate for him and would have paid enormously for the privilege. The widely reported explanation is that his manager, who had been born in the Netherlands and reportedly had no valid passport, could not travel internationally. So the biggest star on earth stayed home, and an entire continent's worth of income was never earned at all. Meanwhile, the Vegas residency, spectacular as it was reportedly locked in at a rate well below what an artist of his stature could have commanded, and it ran for years. And on the other side of the ledger, the spending never slowed. Elvis was famously, almost compulsively generous, reportedly giving away cars, jewelry, and even houses to friends, family, and near strangers. He maintained aircraft. He maintained a large private payroll, and he maintained Graceland, a mansion that reportedly cost something in the range of $500,000 a year to run. Enormous income, an even more enormous outflow, and half of what came in going out the door before he ever saw it. So when Elvis Presley died on the 16th of August, 1977, at the age of 42, the math finally surfaced. The estate he left behind was reportedly valued at roughly $5 million. A striking figure for a man who had earned so vastly more. And that number was gross, not net. Against it sat enormous ongoing costs: the upkeep on Graceland, the staff, the taxes, the legal bills. By several accounts, the estate was burning through its remaining money, fast enough that within a few years it was heading toward insolvency, and there was serious discussion of selling Graceland itself to cover what was owed. Listen to that again. The estate of the best-selling solo artist in the history of recorded music was, 5 years after his death, in danger of having to sell his house to pay its bills. The catalog that could have carried it forever had been signed away in 1973. There was nothing left to sell but the home. This is where the story turns one final time. Rather than sell Graceland, Elvis's former wife, Priscilla Presley, made a decision that everyone around her reportedly considered a serious risk. She opened it to the public. In 1982, with a reported investment of around $500,000, close to the last of the estate's available cash, Graceland opened for tours. It reportedly recouped that entire investment within a matter of weeks, because it turned out that the one asset nobody had thought to take from Elvis was the most durable one he had: the place itself and the name attached to it. Graceland became one of the most visited private homes in America. Around it grew a business: merchandising, licensing, image rights, an entire enterprise built on a legacy. By the time his daughter Lisa Marie inherited it in 1993, the estate was reportedly worth around $100 million, having been rescued from near collapse. In 2005, a controlling stake in the business was reportedly sold for roughly that same figure. Decades after his death, Elvis Presley remains among the highest-earning entertainers in the world in years when he isn't earning anything at all. So here's the thing to carry away, and it is unusually blunt. What you sign away, you never get back. Elvis Presley did not lose his masters to a thief or a court or a crash. He sold them in a legal transaction for a number that looked enormous in 1973 and looks almost tragic today. And the moment that ink dried, 50 years of future income belonged to somebody else. That is the quiet danger of a lump sum. A big check today is easy to understand and easy to accept. A stream of income stretching out over decades is abstract, and it's almost impossible to feel how large it will eventually become. Elvis took the check, but notice the other half, because it's the hopeful half. The estate survived on the one asset he never sold: his home and his name. He kept those, and in the end, they were worth more than everything he let go. So the lesson isn't just to be careful about what you sign, it's to know which of the things you own are actually irreplaceable, and to hold on to those with both hands, no matter how good the offer looks today. If this made you look differently at the difference between getting paid and getting ownership, that's exactly why this channel exists. The real stories behind the money and the lessons hiding inside them. Subscribe and stick around, because the next story is about a man who was offered a check and turned it down for a piece of the business instead, and made more from that single decision than from his entire music career. You won't want to miss it.